Congratulations on a successful year. I feel like the teams performed well throughout the regular season and started postseason here. How would you categorize team success this past season so far?
Our season was kind of built upon itself every week, and thinking back to our home meet in September 1st to now, I definitely thought we improved each week, and the challenges that we found each week, we were able to kind of modify and get a grasp on championship season, which is now. So that was kind of the big main goal, is to improve every week, and I think we definitely showed some of that this last weekend at conference, and hoping to do the same next week.
Speaking of conference play, last Saturday, men finished fourth, men finished fifth, women finished fourth. How do you feel the teams as a whole performed?
I think our goal was to be one place higher on each side, which you kind of walk away from that and be like, oh man, we were right there. But at the same time, I think looking at the positives and starting with the women, Yasmin and Natalia being all region, and first team for Yasmin, second team for Natalia, and on the men's side having two in the first all region, which was great. Talking to the coaches, especially on the men's side, they were really worried about how Jacob and Ed were going to affect the race, and they competed really well, and hopefully we can have a couple of those guys and girls low sticks next week.
You mentioned all conference players. On the men's side, Ed and Jacob, were stellar, first team honors, finishing fifth and sixth individually. And Natalia and Yasmin in the top 10, top 20 as well. Three of those runners are new this year. What were your expectations at the beginning of the year for those three, and even Ed? And how would you summarize what they did and where they are at this point?
Yeah, on the men's side, we had quite a bit of experience coming into this season, with a lot of guys returning, and you throw in Jacob, who has a lot of experience coming in as well. Not at the NCAA level, but he's adapted really well to competition here in the States. And women's side, it was the opposite. We have had a pretty much brand new team. I think at this conference meet, we had one returner that competed at the conference meet last year. So I think things are looking bright, on both sides, and definitely kind of reloading for the men for next year, and then kind of continuing to build on the women's side.
Looking ahead to regionals this week, what are your expectations, team-wise and individual-wise, for that meet?
We always start the season with a goal of representing the Dons at the national championships. We'll see. Anything can happen on race day, but I feel really good about at least getting an individual or two there. Team-wise, we'll just see. I mean, man, it's always kind of a toss-up moving up to 10K. I do feel like with that experience on the men's side, 10K, it's not their first rodeo, so that helps. Women's side, the course, we're pretty familiar with that course in Sacramento, and it's a flat and fast course, which I think helps our women's team.
Again, going back to relatively new team for the women, and Ed as the only real veteran on the top end of the men's side heading to regionals. He had a 42nd finish last year in the 10K up in Seattle. What do you think the team, or even him in general, or the team can do to improve on that result from a season ago?
Yeah, the regional meet is a different animal compared to the conference meet, just from a number standpoint and competition on the high end. You throw in basically the West Coast Conference and the Pac-12 and Mountain West with Boise there. So having two low sticks helps a lot on both sides. It's a big point, potentially big point swing when you have those low sticks. So obviously getting them up there as high as we can, but then getting the rest of the pack as close to them as we can as well, to kind of minimize that 1-5 gap and just where that is. I think historically, if you have a bunch of athletes in the 40s to 80s range, you're going to score pretty well.
You mentioned, a flat course up in Sacramento. Um, Having kind of like a home field advantage, like a little bit. How do you feel like your runners will be able to adapt and be comfortable running this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, travel's easy. That helps. I think regional track was there this last year, and I think actually I think Ben's freshman year we might have been at Sacramento. It's been a while, but yeah, that definitely helps being a local race, and getting our alumni and fans out there is always a big help.